actually see me. All right, I know this is a weird camera angle, but this is what we've got to work with today. I think we'll have to make this work. You know what, just a second. I think I can make this a little bit better. I don't have my lighting or my tripod with me, so I'm trying to make this makeshift. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right, so guys, this is the July 2023 live stream. I am at my co-working spot, and just a heads up, on Sundays the cleaners come in. They sometimes come during the day, sometimes late at night, so they may not be here, but you might hear some people in the background. So it'll be awkward, but we'll make it work. So give me just 1 second here to get everything situated. Okay. All right, I think that's about the best setup we're gonna get for that. All right, so I can see comments. Again, if you're new here, because there were a lot of new subscribers that came in from that vlog that I did, thanks for being here. I do this once a month at the end of the month just to hang out with the subscribers, and I do it in a big part because in the times like this where I'm not making a lot of content, not able to post videos, I actually do this so that I can keep in contact with everyone and keep everyone a little bit updated. So sorry about the lighting. It just is what it is today. So TM USA, I think I'm gonna scoot this a little bit closer here. I think your comment was there before the live stream even started. Thank you. Yeah, I am relieved. I had not had my hair cut for 7 months. It was way past due, and it was a pain in the ass to deal with. I feel a lot better. And Neolithic says your hair looks great. Thank you. It is, well, it's actually not really cooperating today, but it surely looks a lot better than it did, so thank you. And one piece of good news is the guy who used to cut my hair starting in, I don't know, a few years back, up until 2021, he is cutting my hair again. I've been kind of lost without him because he's just so good at it. So yeah, to save a little bit of money, I'm doing the hair every 6 weeks rather than every 4. So it's gonna grow out a little bit, but it should stay fairly well groomed now. And it is also a sign that I'm getting caught up on things slowly, but I am getting there. So I finally had the money to go get the hair done. Gonna get my eyebrows fixed. It's been almost a year since I've had those done, but that'll be something here soon too. So guys, it is July 2023. We're here almost at the end of the month, and I have not posted any videos this month. This will be my only video this month. I mentioned in last month's live stream that I had filmed sort of a second volume to my homeless vlog. That's still true. None of that is edited. I have been absolutely slammed with things to do, so yeah, there's so much content I've got to make, and I think the priority over that video right now is to get out my 6-month update on my financial goals. I actually even thought about shooting it later today. It's a Sunday, I'm shooting at my co-working space, and I think for the most part I should have the place to myself. It would be a good day to film, but usually after I talk for 2 or 3 hours through this, I'm kind of hoarse, so I don't want to try to make another video. Hopefully I can film that later here in the week. So that said, I hopefully will get at least 1 or 2 videos up for you guys in August. Neolithic says, is it hot sleeping in your car in the summer? Well, yeah and no. It's not as much of a problem as you would think. So I'm really far north. Like I'm in the northern part of Ohio, which is basically Canada. And I mean, it does get hot here, and it's hot outside, but by the time that I go to bed, it's cooled off. Partly because of the sunlight, and partly it just gets colder at night. There have been some nights where it's kind of stuffy, and sometimes I won't use like blankets or sheets, but it's mostly tolerable. There's been a couple times where I started the car and ran the air conditioner for a few minutes, but there also have been quite a few nights, and last night was one of them, where it was freezing. I don't know what the actual temperature was, but I woke up because I was so cold, and actually I threw my jacket over myself like as a blanket. So it's not too bad. And I mean, I didn't know how it was going to be, but we're through July. The hottest month, I think, is August or September. But we're near whatever the highest temperature is going to be, and I'm still fine. So, so far, it's working out. Elf says, did you get a chance to do your Memorial road trip? I've not. Partly because of time, and partly because my poor car, we're up to 215,000 miles, and it's still reliable, but you know, I just don't want to push it. So I have not been able to take my trip, and I wasn't able to go last year either. I really hope that I can go by fall, but I'm only going to do it if I am able to. The thing is, so where I go is, so I live in Ohio, drive clear through Ohio to West Virginia. That's where Parkersburg is, and that's where all the court stuff is. And then, like, the next county over from there is where I go on that trip. So probably one of the times that I have to be in Parkersburg for something, I'll go, like, the next day on a trip or something. That would be probably the best plan. Miranda says, hi Mark, nice to see you live. You're looking great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to get my life together. That's sort of the story of this channel. But you guys know I've been pretty bad off the last couple of years. So the getting rid of the burden of rent and utilities has helped a lot in that. And I'm just trying to get caught up on past due stuff and get some stuff done. And while, you know, once I have some of that stuff out of the way, then I can look back at, you know, get myself established back into housing and everything. So I appreciate you saying that I look great homeless, because I'll probably look better once I'm in a stable place. So I'm glad I can pull it off. Max says, I passed my A+ test today. Thanks for your support. Oh, that's cool, man. What was that, an A+ grade, or is that A+ like a certain type of test? Honestly, they could be a computer language for all I know. You guys know I always have a drink. Drink for today, again, it's Diet Pepsi. I need that caffeine. But I have a Diet Sunkist that I'm probably gonna grab at some point during this. So it's just like an orange drink. So, the one thing I did want to say, I'm going to try to update you guys on what's been going on in July. I have just been working so much, which is good, right? Like, I need that money. So I'm doing that. I'm getting a lot of work. I'm doing mostly TaskRabbit and some off-platform furniture assembly. Every once in a while I'll do Instacart or DoorDash. Thankfully though, I'm less reliant on that, and it's just kind of like an extra thing. Um, and then the other thing that's been going on this month is I've been going, my roommate's trial is coming up. So he delayed it again. He got another continuance for another month, but I've had to meet with the prosecutor, and I got some training on how to be a witness, like how to speak to the jury and that sort of thing, which will be helpful, I think, in my lawsuit as well. But I've been going to Athens doing that, and unless it gets delayed again, my roommate's trial is next month. So after that, I think that whole thing will be behind me. So that'll be one more thing off my plate. Let's see here. Greg says, for the first time in 5 years, something went right in my family, or in my, I don't know what I'm reading, in my life. I passed my high school math certification test for teaching high school math in Connecticut. That's cool, man. I don't know how that works. My dad was a teacher, but back then, and we're talking like the 80s, there wasn't any kind of certification. If you had a degree, they hired you, no questions asked. So I'm assuming you have to be like, probably have to have like a teaching certificate, and then there's like, I guess, an examination for each subject matter, it sounds like. That's not the case with my dad at all. They had him teach whatever subject that they needed. Didn't matter if he knew it or not. He kind of fought them the one time when they wanted him to teach math because he's just like, I don't know anything about this, and they were insistent. TMUSA says A+ is a computer hardware tech support type certification. Good job, Max. Okay, yeah, I thought it sounded something like tech, because I was thinking like C++ and C++ and like programming languages. Which you guys know I'm not that into computers. I'm good with computers and technology, but I did work at a tech startup, and I worked at another one before that. So I'm familiar with a lot of the technology that we're using to develop things. I am using AI a lot more now for my stuff that I'm developing. Elf says, do you still follow Raw Sammy? I started watching her because of you. Yeah, that's really cool. Did I mention her like in a past video, or how did you know that I still follow her? She doesn't post for long periods of time, and I did notice recently that she had posted a few videos. She's going through a rough time. She's having a lot of mental health issues, and I couldn't watch it. Like, I watched the preview of it, but when I saw how she was acting, it was triggering for me because of my ex and how my ex acted. And so, like, when you see those videos of her having her psychotic episode, that was a lot of what I was experiencing. Not me personally, but I was like there when my ex was having that. And it's intense. And when you care about somebody and they're acting like that, I don't want to exactly say it's traumatizing, but you're upset and you're really concerned for them, and there's not a whole lot you can do. So seeing in my subscription feed, her doing that, it's kind of triggering for me to watch that because of what I experienced before. I don't know if anybody's getting her help. I know she lives in Georgia, last I know. Pretty sure she has her P.O. box on her description, but I don't know what's going on with her. Greg says, not today. I'm assuming you're meaning about how like my dad just got straight hired, and then you said yes. So it was that type of certification. And then you just commented again and says, I understand mental health issues. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder in 1998, 25 years ago. I had major depressive disorder. I didn't know. I mean, I knew I was depressed, but I didn't know. But I started seeing a therapist in 2016, I think, after my first huge breakup with my ex, the girl, and my therapist actually did not tell me I had a diagnosis, but what happened was I got a super bill for my insurance, and they have to list the diagnosis there. So we never actually discussed it, but that's what I was diagnosed with there. And I don't know if that was a technicality because she had to put something down on paper to bill the insurance, or if it was that I really did have it, but she didn't tell me because she didn't want me to. Well, there's like problems with labeling, like when you label somebody as having a certain disorder and then they like start to identify with it. Max says, how would you rate your work ethic? I don't know, because honestly, I think I probably would downplay it, because if I said that I'm like super hardworking, then I would feel, I don't know, like that doesn't feel good. Like I feel like that would be self-serving or something. But I work approximately 80 hours a week. I have been doing that since May now, and I have my furniture assembly business. Most of my leads come through TaskRabbit. I do Instacart, I do DoorDash, I did do Uber Eats before they deactivated me. And then what else do I do? Shoot, I just completed that boot camp through the university for entrepreneurship. I'm doing the lawsuit on top of that. Getting ready to testify against my roommate for his trial. And then, I don't know. So basically I got a lot going on is what I'm saying. I fear that people could look at me and be like, oh, you're so lazy. And I think every moment I relax, I think people they're not exactly fair in their evaluation when they look at something. So if I'm caught in a moment like I'm, like probably late tonight before I go to bed, I'll probably be here at the co-working space watching Young Sheldon on my laptop, and I'll think, man, if somebody saw me right now, they would just think I'm some lazy dude. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to. I think it's higher than normal, and people have told me that, but I don't want to say that myself. Neolithic. Why did Uber Eats deactivate you? The girl. Yeah, and it'll be brought up in court as part of damages. So I told you guys that I'm in that database where I'm listed as, I don't know what the word is, but I'm on the domestic violence registry. And so they did a routine background check, and it came up on there. Now, I don't know what their policy is exactly, but it seems like there's a misunderstanding. The problem is that the support agents are like, I don't know where they're at, but they're not in the US, and I don't think that English is their first language. So trying to explain this to them, they're not getting it. But I disputed it, and they were like, well, it's for your criminal history. And I'm like, I don't have a criminal history. And they're like, well, you have this domestic violence thing. And I was like, that's not criminal. I wasn't charged with anything. It's civil. And I was like, it's a domestic violence protective order. but it's called that because West Virginia has two types of orders. They have a personal safety order and they have a domestic violence order. And if you're a family member or a romantic partner, the one that applies is the domestic violence one. So it's all just based on what it's called, which is probably, it shouldn't be called that, and then people and their assumptions about that. But yeah, so I will be on that registry either until 2028 or forever. And it depends on if the court sends in the paperwork at the appropriate time to have me removed. But only law enforcement has access to it, and of course, you know, like it would come up on a background check as something flagged. But I don't have a way to check it. So I don't know. I mean, I have to do everything on my own anyway. But hopefully, it falls off in 2028. But it might not. So yeah. Yeah, Neolithic. Yeah, that really sucks. Max. Yes. So we're still doing the lawsuit. It's 3.5 million plus 500 punitive, which is the statutory cap in West Virginia. Yeah. So that's still moving forward. Still working on that. I actually, in August, I will have done at least one deposition that I'm going to be conducting myself, and maybe more. We'll see. But I have the money right now. I just need to actually schedule it with the court reporter. So we're going to sit down and make some people talk to me and answer some questions that they don't want to answer. So that stuff, it's not that upsetting to me. It's just, it's a huge drain on time. I need to do this for myself. You know, I need to not let her get away with this. And hopefully in the end, I get repaid for all the money that she either took or wasted. But this is something that I do have to do for myself, even though it sucks right now. Because I can't live with myself if I don't. And that's something that actually spurred all of this. And when I talked to the therapist, and that's what it came down to in deciding whether we were going to sue is, you know, are you going to be okay if you never get to tell your story? And no, I won't be. Max says, is there any legal precedent for damages in a restraining order case where someone won millions of dollars? Well, no, but there wouldn't be. So this isn't a restraining order case. You can't get damages for a restraining order. That's not something that you can sue for. I'm suing for a few things. Because when you sue, you have to put all of them. Yeah, Chelsea, I'm sure. You have to put all of them all at once. Like, whatever all your problems are, like all the counts, you have to put them all at once. And so it's negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and then defamation, several counts of that, and abuse of process. And I think what you're saying with the restraining order part of it, that's what addresses that. So the abuse of process, that is where someone uses the court system they use the court system for a purpose other than what it's meant for. And in her case, she had quite a few ulterior motives in filing that. I think it's pretty clear that she didn't file it for the reason it's meant for, especially because she didn't even allege that I did any of the things that are necessary to prove in order to get the thing. But Chelsea's saying, "Are you sure you're not filing this out of spite?" Well, no, I'm sure I'm not. But I do think that that was one of the reasons that she filed the restraining order. I mean, it was intentionally to harm me. It was as like a way to continue to abuse me, um, rather than a means of protection, which is what it's supposed to be. And by doing so, it not only harmed me, but it harmed people who actually need that kind of order, who, if it's being used and granted for someone to use as a weapon, then that takes away from people who need it for protection. And so that's what we're dealing with here. And so, yeah, no, it's certainly not out of spite, because I don't even have any negative feelings toward her. Like, people think that I should hate her, and I don't. I care about her very much. It's just, there's behavior that I'm not going to tolerate, and I have to stand up for myself. And when and you said that I missed some obvious red flags. I mean, I don't think they were all that obvious. She was very actively trying to hide them. And when I did get the idea that something might be wrong, she would tell me no, it wasn't. So, when I tried to address something, I was assured it wasn't there. So, I don't know. I feel like that's victim blaming, because I'm in that situation. Like, I'm the one there in it. I'm being intentionally used or manipulated, and at the same time, I so I'm gonna try to catch up with comments here. So what I'm saying is, I don't think the red flags were all that obvious. And I think that it's very victim blamey to say, like, oh, well, you should have seen these. Because I'm the one in the situation, and also when you are 9 years into a relationship and you have feelings for someone, you tend to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt more so than you would somebody that, you're not so romantically tied up with. And then this is Chelsea as well. Maybe she filed for the TPO because you randomly showed up to her gym even though you didn't have a current membership there. Well, no. That happened in November of 2021. Yeah, 2021. And she filed in February of 2022. I didn't contact her between the gym and her filing it. And I had moved to the other side of the state at that point. So it wasn't even, like, it didn't look potentially reasonable that I would even contact her at all, let alone do something that would upset her. And as far as the gym, that's my gym. You said that I didn't have a current membership, but you don't know that. That's a gym that I grew up in. I went to it's called the Y bus that picked you up at school. I did after school care there. I did cardio kids there. I was on the swim team there. I worked my way up from guppy to shark. I was a member there right after college, a different location, back when they had a downtown location, and now they only have this one. But, and then I had an active membership there up until, 10 months, I want to say, or 8 months before I ran into her there. But, when you lose your apartment because someone tells you to give your notice to your landlord, because you're living with her and you're going to move in a few days, and then she ghosts you, so you lose your apartment, like, you have to shower. So, of course I'm going to go shower at a gym. That's what I do now. But when I do that, I'm going to go to the gym that I was most recently a member of. That only makes sense. So, I mean, she didn't have a membership either. And keep in mind, when I saw her at the gym, it was literally less than 60 days since the last day I saw her laying in the hospital bed. And a couple days shorter than she told me that she had developed serious heart problems from what put her in the hospital. So was I expecting to see somebody with serious heart problems that she just almost died from on cardio equipment in a gym? No. Like, that's not reasonable at all. So, I don't know. Again, Chelsea, I've already said to you that I feel like it's very victim blaming. And it seems like other people were picking up on that in the comments. I know I disagreed with you last month on the live stream, but it seems like you're trying to pick out a way to blame me for this. And you just have to believe that sometimes women don't tell the truth. Neolithic says, Chelsea, you were kind of negative towards Mark. If you were the same person that was saying things last live stream. Yeah, she is. It's the same person. And Elf says agreed. So, I mean, we can talk about it, but, you know, it's just not the case. I'm sorry, but if you are sick and shouldn't be at the gym, and you're not even a member there, and then somebody who was recently a member shows up there to their own gym, that's not about you. They're there because you made them homeless, and they bought a day pass to go take a shower. Like, you can't make that about yourself. And even if that was the prompt, why in the world would you wait 4 months to file that? And wait until they moved, 5 counties away? And then claim that they're a danger to you? That makes no sense at all. That makes absolutely no sense. So, that's what's going on. I mean, I will say, in Chelsea's defense, she's not the only one that has tried to find a way to make it my fault, but it does really seem like people are very unwilling to believe that a man can be the one to be wronged, and when they are, they try to find anything to blame them. And it's not just Chelsea, the courts have done the same thing. So I hope none of you guys find yourself especially the men, facing false accusations, because when you do, it's no one believes you, and it's nearly impossible to prove your innocence. I mean, I've been fighting this whole time to even have the chance to tell my story and the chance to prove my innocence. No one will even give me that, even the court system, which that's their entire job. So thank you to Neolithic and Elf for, I mean, I don't necessarily know you're taking my side, but at least pointing out that Chelsea's not exactly being unbiased, so I appreciate that. So if you guys do have any other questions about, like, the lawsuit, like, I'll answer them. I hope the whole live stream's not going to be about that, but I did want to tell you something else, something that is actually positive, and that is that so I want to say, let me think about it here. Okay, so you guys might have noticed that I posted a poll the other day, and I was like, oh, before I dive into this, TMUSA just commented, so let me answer that comment first. I may have missed this from a few minutes before I joined, but has TaskRabbit work picked up? Yes, it is not like at 100%, but I'm getting a decent amount of work. And that kind of leads into what I was about to start talking about is I'm really trying to get leads from other sources, from other lead generators and from some advertising and some things like that. Guys, give me a second here. I'm gonna try to adjust this lighting. It's driving me crazy. Okay, I don't know necessarily if that's any better. It was just shining like right on my forehead. It's just pointing straight down now, so I don't know. We'll have to live with it. But yes, so TaskRabbit has picked up a little bit. I did a task yesterday. I guess I've done tasks like the last 3 days. Now, my middle of the week is not picking up very well. And I'd like to fill that up. So I'm trying to get some things booked outside the platform so that I'm consistently working, 40 hours a week or so. Like I said before earlier in the stream, when I'm not doing that, if it's a work day, I'm doing DoorDash and Instacart, and that's fine. But it pays a lot more for TaskRabbit, so I'm going to try to do that. So that brings me to what I was about to start saying, and that is that I actually think I confused you guys a whole lot, and I didn't mean to. I posted a poll a couple days ago about a business name, and everybody's like, hold up, what? And I posted that just to get your ideas and feedback on a business name, because I thought that I had told you guys what I was doing. And essentially, I have here and there, when TaskRabbit has been slow, tried to get furniture assembly jobs on other platforms. I've done some advertising on Facebook. I've done Facebook Marketplace. I've done Nextdoor. I have social media for the business, which is my off-platform furniture assembly. And I really thought that you guys knew about that. I know I've mentioned it in the live streams, but maybe I just haven't gone into enough detail about like what exactly I'm doing. Because it's not just that I'm just picking up a random job here and there. Like, what I want to happen is I want TaskRabbit, or in more specific terms, I guess, furniture assembly, to be more consistent. Because with TaskRabbit, I can be absolutely slammed for like 2 weeks and then have like nothing for a week. And I make enough that where that week I don't work, it's not that bad. I can get by. But I want to be making money consistently. And you guys know that TaskRabbit slows down in the winter. So what I want to do is I want to be bringing in leads myself. And I've got a few jobs here and there from those other social media platforms that I've advertised on. I want to make that consistent. And so there's a few things that I guess I've got to tell you guys, because I thought you all knew. First of all, it's not just a way for me to get leads. I want to do this permanently. This is something where I'm making really good money. I found something that I have a skill at and that people are willing to pay for. So what I want to do is I'm going legit. I built the website last night. That's going to launch within a couple weeks. The social media is already there. The one thing that I will say, the one thing that has held me back for a few months now, is I was just agonizing over choosing a name. And I could not, everything I chose sounds stupid, okay? And I know there were some comments on the poll. I know some of you don't like the name. And there's not, the name that I finally went with, I'm not 100% happy with. But you know what? even though it's not perfect, I'm so happy to not be like stressing constantly and being held back in the business by not having a name. If it's not the best name in the world, that's okay. Back in 2015, I went and met with some entrepreneurs that had a company called the Bespoken Mogul, which is by far a worse name than my company's name. And they told me not to get hung up on the business name, that you could always change that later, and that they've been through several name changes. Clearly the name they had then was also horrible, so I'm just kind of following that advice. I just want to get started, start making money, have something I can advertise from, and you know what? If we change it later, we change it later. That's okay. So looking at the results of the poll, the one that I've gone with is actually the second choice, but it's very similar to the first choice that you guys picked. And the reason for it is, out of all the many options, I went in and I was designing the logo, and I decided, I was like, okay, let's just test this out with one of the names. And then the design I came up with, I really liked, and the color scheme, and I was like, okay, let's do this, let's stick with this. There also were some issues with social media handles and the domain, and yeah, so there were some issues with that. Like the domain wasn't available for a couple of them, so that pushed me toward doing this particular name. And so basically, that's where it's at right now. So let me really fast, let me respond to the Popcorn Family's comment here, and then I'll go back and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about what I'm doing with the business. All right. So this, I think, it's a huge mural. It goes like way over there. I think it's supposed to be tree rings, but yeah, there's like a little nook up here that I'm sitting in, and I thought that I could sit here and it might be, I mean, something cool to look at, but also it's kind of out of the way in case the cleaners do come in later, because they'll be here at some point tonight. But okay, so and thank you for the compliment. So basically, I told you guys in my financial goals video at the beginning of the year that I'm so busy this year that I can really only focus on two things, and that is the lawsuit and finances. One of the big things with finances, obviously, is working and making money. And with TaskRabbit, I need to make those leads coming in more consistent. And so I've kind of been getting a few on my own and advertising on my own. And eventually, I wanted to get it to where, hey, I'm just kind of doing this on my own, and I'll get some of the leads from TaskRabbit. But it's going to be my business that just gets leads from TaskRabbit, rather than me working for TaskRabbit, basically. I get to charge a little bit more, and it actually comes out cheaper for the customers, because TaskRabbit charges a really high percentage of fees on top of my hourly rate. So I'll make better money doing it off platform. So with that being said, I've been trying to come up with a name. I've been doing branding. I have a little bit of experience in social media marketing and advertising, so I've been doing that. I designed the website, but a lot of these things were held up. Like I couldn't do the email, I couldn't do the social media, I couldn't do the logo or the website until I figured out a name. And I know, like I said, you guys aren't super happy with the name, but we're just gonna have to go with it. Now, I haven't officially released which name it's going to be yet. The poll is still ongoing, so if you go to my community tab, you can vote on that. Last I checked today, there were 23 people who had voted, so you can check and see. You can also type your suggestions in the comments. But basically, you know, if another great idea doesn't come up, I'm just gonna go with what I have now. And by next live stream, I should be ready to announce that. I don't think I'm gonna do a special video. I think I'm just going to tell you guys in the live stream what the website is. You can go check it out, and I'll link you to the social media. Currently, I'm only operating in the Columbus, Ohio metro area. Neolithic says, will you let us know the website, etc., so we can have a look? Yes, so the website doesn't exist yet. I am not going to put the name out there because I'm registering the domain still. So I want that to still be available. And that's why I'm not giving the social media, which right now is just Facebook and Instagram. But I'm not putting that out there yet because of the same reason. But the website will have been launched and the domain claimed and all of that by next month. The reason that it's a little bit of a holdup is just because of the price. While I'm getting in a much better place, I gotta have that money up front, and I'll probably have the money next week, but it might be like a week after that I actually convince myself to spend it. But that'll pay everything for a year. So yeah, it's just like, well, not exactly a one-time fee, but a one-time for right now fee. And then yeah, what I'll do, and I will release that. I might just do it in the live stream next month, or maybe after it's all officially done, I'll just post it in the community tab, and you guys can go to the website. Feel free if you want to follow the social media. You don't have to. The thing is, I know most of you are not in Columbus. We're in the Columbus market, so we're everywhere north to Delaware, down to like Grove City, even Circleville, all the way out to Newark, and west to like, I don't know, West Jefferson. So it's a huge area. And then another exciting thing that I have to announce is that I already have an employee. And if you work for the IRS, they're not an employee, just because I don't have the payroll set up yet. Currently, she's going to be working as a 1099 contractor, and she's not technically an employee because right now the majority of her income is not coming from this, but she is going to be working for me full-time once enough business is coming in. She is going to be taking care of the Dayton and Springfield markets, and then I'm over Columbus, and I will be expanding into Cincinnati and Cleveland, hopefully like within the year. Okay, so I just heard a person, cleaners might be here. Let me just tell them real quick. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just had to tell them why I was talking to myself, because that's what it's definitely going to look like, me talking to you guys. Okay, so yeah, basically right now, I've expanded to a second market. I have one employee, and so we're gonna start growing this. There's a huge market for it, and honestly, TaskRabbit has proven that to me. It's proven that people are willing to pay more for it than what I'm actually charging. I like doing it myself, but there are so many markets that TaskRabbit is not in, and they're only in the major cities, so we're gonna start growing in Ohio and see where it takes us. Neolithic says, have you ever had a piece of furniture that you had trouble with or cannot get put together? I have had quite a few that I've had trouble with. but I've always managed to get it together. There have been a couple times where like that damn. Oh hey.
We're gonna stay upstairs. I'll stay out of here.
You guys can clean around me. I was just telling her I'm just doing a live stream, but like I don't care about any sound. It's just I didn't want you guys thinking I was crazy talking to myself. I'm just talking to my camera.
We're all a little bit crazy right now.
Okay.
That's cool. I'll just have her. We'll be good.
Okay. Okay, cool. I was talking to the cleaner. All right. So basically, what I'm doing is I am just I kind of have a vetting process. So when someone sends me a lead, I never want to put myself in the situation where I can't do something. That's incredibly stressful and awkward for me, and it's going to be, the person's going to be upset. It's just bad. So what I'm going to do is when somebody contacts me and they're like, hey, I have this stuff, and I'm like, okay, what do you have? And if it's an IKEA thing, they can give me the product number or the product name, or they can link me to the website or send me screenshots and I'll look it up. And IKEA almost always has, under product details on their website, the manual that comes with it. They have a PDF of that. So I'll look through it and I'll make sure that it's something that I can do. Like probably 90% of the stuff I can do just fine. Now, if it's something from like Amazon or Wayfair, sometimes I can't find the directions, but what I'll do is I'll read the reviews and see what people said about assembly. Sometimes I'm still kind of taking a chance on it because I don't know, even if it has good reviews and no one says it was difficult to assemble, maybe it will be. But I've had pretty good results in like not getting stuck with something. The worst thing, and I was about to say this, is like the damn Mickey desks. It's a certain type of desk that IKEA has, and man, there's something about the door on it, and I cannot get those things together without the door rubbing when it opens and closes, no matter how many times I adjust it. And it's just like the doors on all the other IKEA stuff, and I don't have that problem on any other model, but that's frustrating. But what I do, but yeah, so like I vet everything and make sure that I don't put myself in a situation where I can't. There was one person, and I think it was this year, where they had a product that I wasn't familiar with. It was these folding plastic storage boxes from IKEA. And I looked at the instructions and I thought I could do them, but then when I was actually building them, they're just junk. Like most IKEA stuff is really good. They're really well engineered, I mean, but man, these things were terrible. And even me, who does this as a job, like, I couldn't make it good. I mean, it looked so bad when it was done. The lady didn't say anything, but like I felt bad. They did not look good at all. And later on, because I had just looked at the instructions, but later on I looked at like complaints online, and people were complaining about that thing in particular. So, but that's the other thing is like when I do this, I'm very honest with people about what I do and I don't do. IKEA got sued a few years back because people were climbing on their furniture and it would tilt over and like land on them. So now they require all the furniture to be anchored to the wall, and you have to sign something when you buy it. You have to, like, when you sign up for TaskRabbit to have it assembled, you have to agree that you're going to have the tasker attach it to the wall. And I don't anchor. And the reason for that is I don't want to drill into people's walls. It's way too much of a liability. I know I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't want to put myself in a situation where I drill into their electric line or their sewer pipe. So I just tell people straight up, I don't anchor. And most people say, that's fine, I don't really want it anchored, they just made me agree to that. And there are a few that I do have to cancel because they're adamant they want it anchored. But I also do run into a good number of people that say, that's fine, like just go ahead and build it and I'll anchor it. And that's fine too. You know, because I think people who are fairly handy are like, oh yeah, I can put a couple screws into a bracket to hold it in place. I just can't build the entire thing myself. So I think just being very open and honest with people up front about your limitations and kind of setting that boundary and being adamant about it, but doing it with the intention that you never put yourself in a bad place where you can't complete a job or you do a bad job. Here I am feeling like I'm running like a training course. Neolithic says that that's a smart idea to vet it before you agree to it. Okay. Now, how many people do we have here? 23. So we had a big crowd earlier. I think we had a little over 30, and that's awesome. So that was the biggest thing that I had to tell you guys, is that I've been spending a lot of time on making the business official. And after all this stuff is launched and after more money's coming in, I'm gonna go spend that money to set up payroll. I already have the processor selected. I have an invoicing system picked out, so we're gonna do that. And then I've been keeping track of the financials and the tax stuff. I'm pretty good with that, so I can continue to do that. And yeah, and then the plan is to hopefully pick up either Cleveland or Cincinnati sometime this year. And the way that's working right now is that they're working for me, and I'm providing advertising and leads and that kind of stuff, and sending them out on jobs. But eventually I might do a franchising model to expand out farther. So it's just kind of, once I get this money coming in, I'm going to take some of that money and go do the legal stuff, like get officially registered as an LLC and set up my S Corp and get a registered agent and all of that stuff that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm sorry if I'm busy. If you guys are bored with the business talk, but that's just kind of on my mind because it's what I've been working on right now. Right. So it is 4 o'clock. We've been on for an hour. I'm at the bottom of the list of questions. We don't have to stay on for 2 or 3 hours like we normally do, but if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them. So let me know if you have any more. That's pretty much all I had to tell you guys to get you caught up on what's going on. I think the only other thing that I have is that in August, I'm really going to try to get that video up about how I'm doing so far on the financial goals for this year. And I would also like to make a video about the student loans. With me working on so many different projects, I'm behind on everything. So, but since I didn't put a video up other than the live stream this month, I really want to do one for next month. So I'll give you guys a few seconds, and if no one has anything else to discuss, we can adjourn. Okay. Oh, there's one. Fresh Light says, good to hear about your business. Do you think you will get an apartment before winter starts? I'm not 100% sure, because that is the plan, and that was the plan when I first did this. I'm still saving up money to get to that point, and I have about a third of the amount saved that I need. The issue right now is that I want to keep riding this wave as long as I can, to keep living without rent and utilities, because that's what's allowing me to make progress. Now, if the business like explodes and I'm making like $10,000 a month or something, then maybe I'd be in a position like, okay, yeah, I should just go get an apartment. But if things are just a little bit better than they are now, I want to continue doing this as long as I can. And I think it was in one of the previous live streams, somebody said like, hey, since you're in your car, like, are you gonna move south for the winter? And I would love to do that. I really would. I'd love to continue doing what I'm doing, but move somewhere south in the cold and then come back up here maybe in May of next year. The issue with that is the lawsuit. The issue is the trial's in February, and leading up to the trial, there's a lot of things, a few hearings, all my depositions that I have to do in person in West Virginia. And then of course I have to be at the trial in person. So that's the thing that's gonna keep me here for this winter. So I don't know how it's gonna work this winter. Maybe I'll have to get a place, but I don't think most places are gonna do short term. And I'd like to go back to this lifestyle in May or whenever it warms up. So we'll see. I've thought about just renting a room, just short term for like a few months. That's a possibility. It is also maybe possible that I could just go somewhere south. My car will make it. I'm confident of that. What I'm not confident of my car making is repeated trips back and forth. So I think what it might be is I might have to drive one trip down there and then fly back if I need to do anything for court. I don't know. Well, I know that does not sound like a good idea at all, but it's just an option of what could happen. I'm just gonna kind of have to see where I'm at with the business and financially and with the lawsuit by the time it starts getting cold. If it weren't for me having to be in West Virginia for the lawsuit, what I would do is once it starts getting cold here, and it's honestly not going to be all that like intolerably cold until, who knows. With Ohio, sometimes it's November, sometimes it's January. But when it does get to where, it's too cold to sleep in the car at night, what I think I would do, my co-working space has locations across the country. They're not super huge, but they're not all here in Columbus. They have several in North Carolina, and it's kind of a straight shot down the interstate. So I thought that I could just do what I do now, but do it down there. Just the locations that are further south. And the city that I would be living in, they do have TaskRabbit, and I could start doing advertising and promoting for my furniture services in that city and get it started in that city as well. And then, of course, I can do DoorDash and Instacart there as well. So I thought about doing that, and that probably is what I'd do if I wasn't stuck here for the lawsuit. Let's see. TMUSA, have you been finding good places to park at night? Car running okay? Heard from your mom lately? Well, as far as the mom question, I haven't heard from her at all. I don't think she wants anything to do with me. And it's a tough thing, but I mean, my therapist agrees with me. I can't talk to her because that just tells her that she can behave the way that she behaves, and that I'm, just gonna tolerate it. So, I don't know. There's nothing I can really do about it. So the car, oh, well, that's like a whole thing. So, good Lord. Okay, the car is fine. It is having problems, but it's not the car's fault. So first of all, I got a screw in my tire. And if you have all-wheel drive, that's like an insane issue that it shouldn't be. I got one screw in my tire. It doesn't even go flat. It just slowly leaks. And I fill it up every couple days. It'll go down to about 25 pounds of pressure, and then my TPMS light comes on, and then I just fill it up, and it's fine. I've driven all over the state like that, and it's fine. It's actually right in the middle of the tire, so I think it can actually be patched, and I just need to go do that and go get it patched. But while that was going on, okay, so let me explain why this is a huge deal. So if you have all-wheel drive, your tread depth on your tires, it has to match in order to not screw up like the entire system. So you can't just replace one tire. You have to replace 4, so they're all the same tread depth. And then, of course, you have to get alignment. It's a whole mess. So anyway, while I was like, oh God, like I've got to eventually go get this tire patched, I got a complete flat on a different tire. Completely, like, I mean, it pretty much must have gone flat pretty much immediately after I ran over a nail is what it was. And this is only like 2 weeks after I got the screw in the other tire. And so I have roadside assistance through my phone, and like they just wouldn't come out. They claimed that they had called every place in this county, and that no one does flat tires. And I was like, great, okay. And the thing was, I'm capable of changing my own tire, but it was like 120 degrees outside. I just didn't want to. And since I have roadside assistance, I was going to do that. So after waiting for more than an hour, I just decided to do it myself. Which was fine, except that my jack broke. Like it broke. I don't know how it happened. The top half of it bent like this. So it's like the car's jacked up and the top half of it bent. And it's just like completely broken now. So then the car fell off of it. So thankfully it didn't hurt because I already had the wheel off at that point. Thankfully I wasn't under it and it didn't hurt the rotor. But it was like a whole ordeal getting somebody else with a second jack. And anyway, so I got it replaced. I got the same brand and model of tire that I had with the other ones. The only thing is I got to go get it shaved. They got to shave down the new tire so that it's even with the other ones. So that was a whole thing. And so it's good that I'm saving that money for the apartment, because then I had the money to get that fixed. We found out, I finally got my oil changed. Oh my God, it was like 15,000 miles on an oil change because I just didn't have the money. And I found out why the oil was leaking everywhere. Because everywhere I would park, it would leave a puddle, and it uses oil. But it's usually like between oil changes, I have to end up adding like a quart to it. But this was like a quart a week or more, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Come to find out, the place that changed my oil told me that the place that had done it before, they did something with the screw, like the oil screw thing where you take it off to drain the oil, that it was like barely on there, so it was attached, but it like wasn't sealing at all. So that's why I was losing so much oil. And I will say that that did stop now. It's not leaking any oil. So that's a good thing. And it's good that it was that simple. There is some kind of acceleration issue. I don't know what it is. I mean, honestly, I'm sure whatever it is costs more than the car to fix, so I'm just gonna deal with it. But it's, when you first press the gas pedal, it kind of, it hesitates for like a split second before it starts going. It's been like that for a few months now, and I just have to know that, like, when I'm pulling out from a stoplight, like, I can't pull out in front of somebody because there's a delayed reaction after giving it the gas. So I'm just gonna deal with that and not fix it, because I mean the car still drives and it's reliable. It's just there's something going on there. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I replaced a headlight this month. I've got to do my engine oil filter soon. Not engine oil filter. Engine air filter. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that myself. And honestly, I would do the oil myself, but my car sits literally this far off the ground. It sits so low, it drags on everything, but it sits so low on the ground that I can't get under it. And actually, the first week of August, I'm going down to Athens. I'm going to check out some ramps from the tool library, and I'm going to fix my bumper, because it's been, well, the plastic parts are falling off, and I'm going to put it back on the zip ties. So yeah, that's what's going on with the car. I mean, at this point, it has 215,000 miles on it. It's not worth fixing the cosmetic stuff. It runs, it drives, it's dependable. It looks terrible, but you know, I can't really complain. Oh, and then you also said, have you been finding good places to park at night? Mostly. I need to research some more, but I have a few, and I haven't had any problems at any of them. Well, except for one, but that was weird. I don't know what that was. Somebody like, the place that I parked that I showed you guys in my vlog, one time I was there, and only once. It's like a really weird place. Like, I don't even know how anybody would know that's back there. And it was like 3:30 in the morning. I was about to lay down. I'm sitting in the driver's seat still, and somebody started to like drive there, like, and then realized that my car was back there, and then they drove off, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, they were definitely not up to anything good. And then what made it super weird, though, is like 15 minutes later, they came back, and they drove even further than they were the time before. They started driving like down the street toward me, and then I thought they were gonna like confront me or something, and then they just drove away. So I don't know what that was about. That was really weird. But nobody's bothered me at any of the other places, even places that I'm not really supposed to be parking. Like there's this one parking lot that I sometimes park in because it's a lot closer than the other places I go to. And this is a few days ago. I woke up, and I mean, I had my windows blocked out and everything. And this is a place that has like no overnight parking signs and like tow away signs, but I do see people there sometimes sleeping in their cars. And when I woke up, I looked in my side view mirror, and there was a cop like just a few parking spaces away, like looking out toward the road. I don't know how long he would have been there, but apparently he didn't care that I was there at all. But yeah, so that's been fine. I need to research some more, but I don't stay at the same place more than 2 nights in a row, and like I switch it up. Hey Jennifer, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine that you're late. We've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes now. TMUSA says it would be cool to move around to find good weather. Would it be better to upgrade car and drive south until you need to be back for meetings? The only thing, well, my depositions are starting next month, and there's quite a few of them, so that's really now. Now there's potentially some time between about, I think the discovery cutoff is in either October or November that I have to have the depositions done. And then the trial's not till February. We do have to do mediation in the meantime, but we could do that online, like over Zoom. Her attorney proposed marriage counseling, and if we do that, we could also do that virtually. So there is a little bit of a period of time where I could go ahead and move. I don't know. Kind of see on that. And then TMUSA says, yes, I had the same tire issue. I bought a car and the tire went low, found out there was an illegal plug on the sidewall. Tire guy called it this, had to buy 4 new tires. Yeah, so with the plugs, like if it's too close to the sidewall, they're not supposed to plug it. It might have just been somebody that bought one of those kits and did it themselves. I'm not confident enough in myself to do that, to try that. So I'm gonna take it to a tire shop to get my back one patched. With that one, like I said, I fill it up every 2 or 3 days and it's fine. I drive it on the highway. I've driven it to West Virginia. It's fine. It's just a slow leak, and it's supposed to be inflated to, I think, 32 or 33, and it goes down to about 25. And that's the lowest it's ever gone. I mean, when the light comes on, I go and get air fairly soon after that. So maybe it won't even go flat. Maybe it'll only go down to 25, but I don't want to find out. Hey, Manny. All right, guys, so we have 24 people on here right now. We have been going for a little over an hour and 15 minutes. We normally do 2 to 3 hours, but it seems like there's not a whole lot of questions today. I have told you guys everything that I've got going on, all the updates, and plans for videos in the near future. So if you guys don't have any other questions or anything, I will go ahead and end things here early. And I think that's what I'll do is, once I get the domain registered and the website set up and everything, I will probably tell you guys in the community tab, so you can go and check it out if you want. Obviously, we're only operating in Central Ohio right now, but you can at least see what I'm working on. And then we'll probably talk about it again in next month's live stream. And I've got a lot going on, but I will try to get a video or 2 out in August, plus the live stream, because I know I'm behind and I want to make those. It's on my list, so I just gotta keep moving things around until I can make some time for it. Neolithic says, thanks Mark, have a good month, see you next time. All right, well, that's a good place to end things. Thank you guys for being here today. And if you're watching this back, feel free to leave a comment. I read through everything, even if I can't respond. And if you haven't yet voted, go ahead and go on my community tab and vote on the names for the business, or put your suggestions in the comments. I think I'm pretty set on the one that I'm gonna do, but I'm not 100% set yet. So I will probably close that poll later this week, and then I'll read over your guys' comments for those of you who are not watching this live. So look out for a couple videos from me this month. my business posts on community tab, and then we'll do another live stream like this at the end of August. And I will see you guys then.